Hello and welcome to Channel Unicorns and Rainbows. I'm Amy.
And I'm Rosemary. We have a developing story for you. Today, the nation of Vietnam was guaranteed its independence from France. The Geneva Conference that had been taking place for the last 2 months finally ended today and released its results for the fate of Vietnam.
Let's talk to our reporter Linda, who is live on the scene with more information. Linda?
This is Linda, reporting live from Geneva, Switzerland, where the Geneva Conference was held. The decisions for Vietnam were made final today. Vietnam is no longer a colony of France.
Following the First Indochina War, France has lost its hold of the South Asian colony. The border between North Vietnam and South Vietnam, or the Viet Minh and the South Vietnamese respectively, was decided at the 17th parallel. Elections are said to be held in the future to reunite North and South Vietnam.
I'm here with the Vietnamese diplomat that attended the Geneva Conference. What is your name, sir?
I would like to remain anonymous.
All right, can you tell us more about how these decisions will affect Vietnam?
Well, Vietnam is finally free from the oppressive French forces. For more than half a century since the 1800s, the French had colonized Vietnam. They called us French Indochina. We didn't like their rule. From low wages to brutal treatment, the Vietnamese have suffered under the French government. With Ho Chi Minh's leadership, the Viet Minh were able to win Vietnam back for the people. The French must now withdraw from Vietnam, and we will rule ourselves.
Can you tell us about the division of North and South Vietnam?
Well, now that we are free from France, the question of leadership still remains. Who will lead our newly freed country? There is Communist Ho Chi Minh and his Viet Minh rivaling the non-communist South Vietnamese government. As you know, a free election to reunify Vietnam is to be held, but between you and me, I don't think it's going to happen. I hear Ho Chi Minh plans to rule all of Vietnam with his communist ideals, and the South Vietnamese government doesn't seem to plan to cooperate. Their president, No, is capitalist.
Thank you, sir. Amy, Rosemary, back to you.
Thank you, Linda.
Coming up after this commercial break, we'll show you the inside story behind the First Indochina War as well as what led to it.
Don't be a communist, because you will get poor and die. Don't be a communist in Europe. Don't be a communist in Vietnam. Just don't do it, okay? Promise? Okay. Now everybody, grab some flags.
Welcome back to Unicorns and Rainbows. Here we have the inside scoop on how this Geneva Conference came to be. For many decades now, the French have ruled Vietnam as a submissive colony. But when did the Vietnamese begin to rebel? It all started with Ho Chi Minh. Let's view this exclusive footage of where it all started, at the Versailles Peace Conference.
After World War I, the delegates of the different countries met in Paris, make peace treaties. The U.S. President Wilson, Britain's Prime Minister David Lloyd George, and French Premier Georges Clemenceau ran the show. Ho Chi Minh, representing Vietnam, brought up issues in French Indochina to the three superpowers, but the response he received was not very satisfying. I would like the Vietnamese people in French Indochina to have representation in the French Parliament and freedom of speech. Also, please release the political prisoners.
You can't sit with us.
We have Ho Chi Minh live with us today to talk about how Vietnam became independent. Ho, how did the Versailles Peace Conference lead to the results we see today?
When I realized the three superpowers had no intentions of addressing the problems of the Vietnamese people, I sought my own solution. In Paris, I read up the works of Karl Marx. I liked his idea of communism and supported it. I founded a Communist Party.
When did you and your Communist Party begin to take action?
With the turn of World War II, the Japanese people came and occupied Vietnam for their own purposes. I saw this as an opportunity to create a national force. I called them the Viet Minh, or the League for Vietnamese Independence. We fought against the Japanese with weapons that the U.S. supplied us.
Right. During World War II, the U.S. was enemies with Japan for the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. It would only make sense that they would help you.
When World War II ended in 1945, the Japanese had lost the war. I took over Hanoi, and the Japanese withdrew. The Viet Minh were quite popular among the peasants. Little did I know the U.S. would turn on our Communist Party.
After World War II, there was post-war tension between the Soviet Union and the US. The Soviet Union was communist, and the capitalist US feared this. This tension led to the Cold War that we are in right now. After learning opposed socialist ideals, the US, afraid of the spread of communism, stopped aiding the Viet Minh.
And so, the US began to support the French. They helped France bring back French troops into Vietnam. We fought. And the First Indochina War began. We fought for almost a decade before victory at Dien Bien Phu. So here's what happened. The French decided to build their central base in Dien Bien Phu. This was in the mountains of northern Vietnam near the Lao border. They surrounded their central base with 3 artillery bases, hoping to lure the Viet soldiers to the central base, and then they would fire us down using the 3 artillery bases. Luckily, our General Vo Nguyen Giap was super smart and developed his own plans. We had peasants bring us artillery guns piece by piece. They rode their bikes and delivered our artillery pieces into the mountains near Dien Bien Phu, where we reassembled our guns. We destroyed the artillery bases before Vo launched an attack on the French central base. We won our victory at Dien Bien Phu on May 7, 1954. Although we had more Vietnamese casualties than the French, who cares? We won. It's a sacrifice we just had to make.
Thank you for talking with us today, Ho. Well, there you have it, the exclusive inside story behind the Vietnamese independence. The question still remains, who will rule Vietnam? Will the communist regime take over the Vietnamese people? Will the U.S. intercept this? Will the U.S. be willing to support a dictatorship as opposed to the communists?
Join us next week as we'll discuss the fate of future Vietnam and the possible steps that the U.S. might take against this. Goodbye and be safe, everyone, from Channel Unicorns and Rainbows.
This is Linda, reporting live from Geneva, Switzerland. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Linda, reporting live from Geneva, Switzerland.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to Channel Unicorns. Hello and welcome to Channel Unicorns. Hello and welcome to Channel Unicorns.
Today, the nation of Vietnam was guaranteed its independence. Today, the nation of Vietnam was guaranteed its independence from France. The Geneva Conference. No! You're so angry. Be angry. Be angry. That have been taking place for the last 2 months finally ended today and released its results. Today. Wait. Today, the nation of Vietnam. Okay, wait, just hold on.
We can cut that part, beginning part out.
Yeah, just keep going.
Just keep going.
Shut up!
Just keep going!
Linda. Today, the nation of Vietnam was guaranteed its independence from France. No! Oh, I can't do this.
What if I do it?
Okay. No! It's my part!
Don't be a communist, because you will get poor and die. Don't be a communist if you're
You know, a French election to reunify Vietnam is to be held, but between you and me, I don't think it's gonna happen. As you know, a French...
There you have it, the exclusive inside story behind the Vietnamese independence. Who will rule Vietnam? I don't know.
You tell me.
Well, there you have it, the exclusive inside story behind the Vietnamese independence. The question still remains, who will rule? I just cannot do that. I'm not going to do this.
Vietnam.
I don't know. I can't do it.
I don't know. You tell me.
You tell me, little.
Oh my god!
You tell me, Mr. Flores. I can't do this right now.
Okay, let's just stop that. Okay. Huh?
Okay. I'm gonna go pee.